I hate that clown.
It says the CEO of JP Morgan called for his employees to return to the office. This time it seems real. I don't understand, why do they have to be forced back to the office? Why?
Why?
I don't get it.
Question why?
It says, we're welcoming more of you back next month so that you can get comfortable with being back in an office environment. Recognizing the challenges involved, he said, this may take some time, and we will fully expect that by early July, all US-based employees will be back in the office. I just don't understand. If employees want to work from home, what is the big deal?
Because they're stuck. The old dinosaurs that basically run these companies, they're stuck in that bureaucratic way of fucking thinking. Scary go fucking thinking.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Like, it's just like the way they have to know that all their mice and all their hamsters are running on the wheel.
Yeah. It says most professionals learn their job through an apprenticeship model, which is almost impossible to replicate in the Zoom world. So you're telling me that in the corporate office where people barely talk to you, have anything to say to you, have no socialization pretty much at all, you're going to have an apprenticeship in the corporate world?
I don't know. I don't know if I could agree with that, because when I walk into my office, I want to fucking throw up every day. I walk in that office when I have to face those people. I'm not even going to lie to you. Like, it's almost like you have to be somebody that you're not.
Yeah.
Like, I literally can't be myself when I walk into that fucking office.
Can't.
I can't. Like, I literally have to be the fakest, it's the hardest thing to do. And I don't know how people can do it. Like, it's me not being myself 8 to 10 hours a day. Like, I cannot be myself. Like, I get sick. But yeah, that is the hardest 8 to 10 hours a day of my life. It literally gives me a burning sensation in my stomach knowing how fake that I have to be. And I don't know if it's everybody.
That it has to be. You have to look at certain people around you and you have to say to yourself, you have to think like these people are thinking the same thing. Like, they're just too afraid to say anything.
I want to believe that, but it's almost like they're like robots almost. It's like I talk to these people and
they're worried about their promotion. They're worried about getting a bonus, right? They're not worried about their family, what they're doing after work, going on vacation with their family, being with their friends. All they're worried about is staying at the office until 7 o'clock, impressing their boss who doesn't give a shit about them so they can get a decent bonus. That's which is taxable.
Taxable, yeah, exactly. So they're not. You get 10,000. It might look nice on paper, but you're not getting $10,000 in your bank account. This is what
people chase for, though. This is what they chase for all year round. And it's like the carrot that they hold over their heads. If you do a good job, I remember when I was in the office, one of my managers, he said to me, "If you do a good job, this will look good on your performance review." Like, I gave a shit about your performance review. So in reality, it's making you look good, not me.
Exactly. And one of the crazy things is they do all this. And I actually had the access to see some of these people get their yearly raises, yearly bonuses. And 99% of them was dog shit every year. They actually got less. Their raises were complete dog shit. Like, and these were guys that were going above and beyond, like I said, like talking to everybody. Like, so what benefit has it really shown for about? I would say 99% of these people have gotten literally dog shit raises, dog shit bonus year after year, and they're still chasing this.
And what the corporate world wants you to do as well is you can't talk. It's taboo to talk about your raises, your salary, right? Because they don't want you to know what your coworker's getting as a bonus, right? So you're working super hard, you're staying late, you're working on the weekends, and you're getting a $5,000 bonus, and you think that, wow, I got a good bonus this year, right? When in reality, compared to other people in your department or your company, it's shit. But you don't know that because you can't talk about it with anyone.
It's funny you say that. I actually saw it was like this freaking ad that popped off, and it was like, can't ask your coworkers about their raises and their salaries. It's actually like an app now that you could download. It's new. I don't know what it is. And you can actually like discuss anonymously. I guess like I haven't looked at it. I gotta find the name of it. I'll find it.
Yeah, so you can kind of like see what your coworkers are getting at.
You could be like HR professional in, let's say, I don't know, pick a like Amazon. So all these HR professionals can go there and like post their, like, they discuss their
Yeah.
salaries, their raises, their whatever, their bonus. So I don't know exactly how it works, but I gotta find that. I want to look that up.
Yeah,
And
it's
I'm
just the
gonna,
corporate world. It's all about control, right? It's you keep working super hard and you could get a great bonus, you can get a promotion, right? One day, like keep working hard. You never know you're gonna make it so far in this company, right? Like they just dangle these carrots above your head to keep you working, keep you working. And in the end, it's the company that's making all the money, not you.
yeah,
Because like these people, it's like you get $100,000 a year, right? Let's say you get your promotion, you're making 110,000. You're just getting taxed more. Your paycheck, how much does it go up? In all honesty, right? Like you make 10,000 more a year. How much does it actually move on your net pay? It's just the way to like control people. Keep working 9 to 5, right? Stay at work. And these people don't even work 9 to 5. These people, like, they look at you funny if you're leaving on time, right? Like you're not staying late. Like, don't you want to impress your boss?
but like, what's even crazier is, like, would you play the lotto and like say, oh, I'm gonna hit the lotto one day? Like, think about, if you look at the number standpoint, everybody's end goal is I'm gonna become an executive,
Yep.
whatever. How many, out of
Yep.
10,000 employees, how many people are actually an executive director, so on?
A handful, dozen,
Like,
right?
let's
Like
say,
yeah,
yeah,
CEO, CIO, CFO, right? You
yeah,
got you got a couple of people at the top, and yeah, you're right. Like you got a company with 10,000 plus employees,
yeah.
and like 12 of them are upper management
Let's
like
give them the
that, right?
benefit. 50 of them. Give them
Let's
50.
say
I mean,
50. Still, what are the chances of you, Joe Schmo, who's working hard, staying late in the office, making it to that
so
point?
yeah. So 9,950 employees out of 10,000 are regular Joe Schmoes. So what's the
Yeah,
chances of you over your, let's say, 30, 35, 40-year career making it to that top 50?
yeah, really low, extremely low. Right? And like unless you know someone and they're grooming you and they're preparing you, right? Like you can work as hard as you want. Doesn't mean you're going to get that position, right? Like I've had coworkers who would bust their ass working all day on call on the weekend, trying to get promotion, senior analyst, this and that. And years go by and nothing changes. One of the reasons is because the company wants you to stay where you are, right? Because if they promote you, they give you a management position. Now, who's going to do that job, right? Like that's not what they want. They want you to help out the company in that way. They don't want to promote you.
No, not at all. They don't want to, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
They want 2 years, be a slave for 2 or 3 years, and they want you to get the fuck out. They
Yep.
don't want it. That's what they want. They want to hire cheap labor,
Yep.
keep bringing in people, rotating these days. There's no more like company loyalty to the employee. There definitely
No.
isn't. I think it's
No.
the most turnover. Like, I think companies nowadays see more turnover than they've ever seen in history.
It's true. It's because I don't know. I just think the companies don't take care of their employees, right? Like they don't mind. Like, yeah, stay for a year and leave. We'll find someone else to replace you, right? Like it's no big deal to us. There's a million people out there trying to get this kind type of job, right? Like if you leave, so what? We'll find someone else, right? Like instead of like helping an employee, developing their skills, giving them meaningful raises that actually make a difference in their life and stuff like that, right? Like stock options and so on. There's all these I don't know corporate America.
I mean, and then like a pandemic hits last year, destroys everybody's life.
Yep.
Everybody goes remote, still working. I mean, corporations are making hand over, like, some of these corporations have actually benefited. I mean, like,
Yeah,
hand over
many of
fist
them.
cash piling in through this pandemic, and all these workers, and some of them, I have a feeling that some of the people working for them actually probably had to work harder, depending on their position and depending on what type of field they're in, killing themselves,
Yep.
working hard, not fuck. I guess not complaining. Do it. These companies record numbers. You go across the board.
And then you have these people that are working from home, right? And they actually are able to spend time with their family, right? They're actually able to see their children grow up, be able to experience their first steps, crawling, this and that, right? And they still get their work done, right? They're still working, they're still joining their Zoom calls, they're still attending all their meetings, they're still doing what they're still being productive, even though they're at their home. And then you have companies saying, you got to come back to the office. Why? We need you to come to the office and join a Zoom call. Don't go next to anyone because we still have to stay socially distant, but just come to the office and join the Zoom call. What's the purpose? Micromanaging. We want to make sure that you're actually working, right? Like, God forbid you go to the bathroom when you want. You make a sandwich when you want, whenever in your house, right? You go for a walk. God forbid we can't monitor exactly what you're doing. I remember one of the companies I worked for, you had to swipe in and you had to swipe out. So they basically were able to track whenever you walked into that building, whenever you walked out of that building. How long were you out for? How long were you in for? Like, I don't understand the purpose of that, right? Like, you're hiring someone because they have a skill. You interviewed them, you trust them, right? Like, they're a grown adult, but you can't trust them to get their work done at home. Makes no sense.
Completely, it's completely crazy. And I think if you look up one of the CEOs, I think Jamie Dimon, I think he runs Chase.
Yep.
JP
Morgan, yep.
Oh my! So he's requiring all employees to return to their offices by July. So he's actually go to the remote work. So wait, if I recall, JP Morgan, Chase, the amount of money that they made during this pandemic.
Yep.
Record numbers. I think we spoke about this before. Record numbers, and this guy's demand. So all his employees. So I guess they weren't doing anything from home. They could break record numbers and employees weren't working.
Right? Like, they're making money, but the employees must be, doing absolutely nothing at home, but we're still making money somehow.
So so apparently he can record. He has record year. Everybody's working from home, but he doesn't want Johnny Boy. You can't make a sandwich at 9:30 in the morning. No, he's not allowed. That might hurt productivity and it might hit the bottom line. That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Excuse me, this jerk off's going to be on the golf course, I'm sure. I want to see if he's.
Yeah, I want to see if he's in the actual office or he's playing golf whenever he wants, right? I mean, come on, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's outrageous, and it's just. I mean, everybody has been.
It says, I'm looking at this article from Forbes, and it says, we will continue to practice social distancing efforts and require face masks. So you're not going to be able to physically be next to people in a small conference room, right? So how are you going to meet with these people? Zoom, Teams, whatever the company uses. So what's the difference? You still can't be next to people if they're still staying socially distant.
What's crazy
about changing going to the building
is that Diamond had said, I remember reading this was back during the pandemic when they were breaking record numbers, is that he had said at the time 10%, I think it was like 10% of his US-based employees are actually can stay full-time working from home, and others can continue, at least, he said, this is after the pandemic, which we're coming out of now, that remote, you could stay remote some of the time. Now, all of a sudden, he did this like 180, and he's saying, no, nobody's work. He doesn't like work from home. This is why he was, everything was cool while people were working. You couldn't go to work because, we had the mandates and everything. Nobody could be in an office, social, all that stuff. And he was breaking record numbers, kept everybody, I guess, to keep them motivated, like almost like lied to his employees. And now all of a sudden he does this 180, and he's like, no, you're coming back to the office, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. If I work for JP Morgan Chase, I'd have my lawyer on the line, man, getting ready to call this piece of shit up, exactly what he is. And I would love for him to listen to this because he's a piece of shit. Excuse me, but I really would like Jamie. I like him to hear this podcast. I want some way, if I make it anywhere, I want this podcast to get to his desk somehow, so he could listen to this and hear what I really think about him. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense that it has to be that I don't know. It can't be about the company. It has to be about they want people back into the city, bringing income into these small businesses and other shops around the city, right? It can't be about productivity, but they should just mention that, right? We want people coming back so that way New York City or whatever city that they're located in, right? We want to stimulate the economy. We don't want people staying home, not spending their money. It has nothing to do with being productive at work because, like you said, they made so much money over the pandemic. It can't be about that. But that's what these companies are saying, right? Like, our employees aren't productive at home, right? We can't monitor them. We can't track them. They can't learn from each other, right? Like the same way if you're walking next to someone who's giving you a fake smile that doesn't even want to talk to you in the first place, right? Like, let's be honest. Like if you worked in the corporate world before, right? Like you've gone up to people who don't give a shit about what you're saying to them, right? Like, and you have people who, okay, here's a good example, right? I worked with some person where instead of, and we sat 5 feet from each other, right? So what do you, in a normal situation, right? If someone sits 5 feet from you, you can just say, "Hey, buddy, blah blah blah," right? Instead, what this person would do is email me. Email me. Can you do that? Wait, what? I'm right here. You could just have a conversation with me, right? So how? What's the difference if you're home or if you're in the building? Because you're still gonna have these people who are gonna send you an email when you're 5 feet from them. I don't understand.
Right. It makes, yeah, they do that all the time. I think I remember, I probably told you this story a million times. When I was in the office years ago, one of my coworkers came to me and he's like, I forgot what he was asking. He was like, he came to my desk and he was talking. He's like, "Oh, uh, I need you to do, I'll send you something like you need me to do something." And he's like, "Oh, I'll put it in the email." Like he was standing there. He could have just told me what he needed me to do. He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to go send that over to you in an email really quick." Like he needed me to do something. I'm like, and I asked him, I said, "You're standing here. Just tell me what to do." "No, no, 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 no. I'm going to go write you an email."
I don't get it.
Yeah, it's sickening. So
Yeah,
that's
I
what I'm
don't get
saying.
it.
Yeah, so I think like, so what I'm coming to terms with here is that these CEOs, you know what? It's not that, as much as I want to say yes, they want us to be like slaves almost, and they want us back. So it's also, if you think about it, all these big time CEOs, they have connections, probably buddies in the real estate business who need these buildings rented. So
Of
they're not,
course. Yep.
So I think that plays another large role into it. And I think that's bullshit because times have changed, technology's gotten better over the last, and it's going to continue. Technology,
Yep. Yep.
technology always is going to change, and it's time to maybe keep up with the times. Survival of the fittest. These people are not, these are dinosaur like people in an office. Like, figure out what to do with your buildings. You got real estate, change. You're not going
Yep.
to have people in suit and ties sitting there, and it's not going to
No,
happen.
this
You're
think
going
of
to
the
try.
generation coming up now, right? You think that they're going to want to sit in an office all day when they know they can do their job remotely. I mean, just think
No,
about the population of people that are going into the workforce today,
Gen
right?
Z.
Yeah.
They can't even shake hands. Like, literally, they can't even look you in the eye and shake a hand. No, they're not sitting in an office. No way. No, there might be too much light coming through the window, hit them in the eye. No, those people, like, yeah, they're in for a rude awakening. Like, and I think that's the thing. They're scared of change. They see it. I think they see it coming. They see it. They see they're losing, like, they're losing their grip on the people, on the worker. They got to realize that these are humans. Workers are not robots.
Yep,
And
exactly.
I think it's scaring them almost. Like, they feel like they're
And
going to lose that.
a human is not designed to sit at a desk 8+ hours a day, staring at a monitor, having very little. Let's be honest, like the socialization inside of a corporate America is very low, right? Let's be honest, like people don't really socialize too much, right? They're sitting at their desk doing their job. The companies, they're making it seem like, yeah, people are walking around socializing, talking to each other, laughing, but in reality, that's like, if you're laughing at your desk, people are looking at you like, why is this guy laughing, not
Thank
doing his
you.
work, right? Like, let's be honest though, it's not like that. Like, you have certain tech companies, right? Startup companies and so on, where they have this allure of like, we have free food, we have pool, we have video game room, massages, whatever, right? But let's be honest about those companies. It's because they offer flexible hours. You can come to work, leave whenever you want. But if we have all this stuff here, you don't want to go home. You want to stay here, keep working, right? Like it's kind of like this like wool over your eyes, right? Like just to keep you working.
Like, Facebook is a perfect example. Google, they say they put these free cafeterias in, they give you free lunch, they give you, oh, there's bedding there. You can go in. I guess, what do they call those things? They have a name
Sleep
for them.
pods or something,
Pod.
right? Like
You
something
know what
like
that
that.
sounds? It sounds like prison to me almost. You get your meals, you got a bed,
Yep.
you have a little basketball court outside that's probably guarded
Yep.
by 700 cameras. If you walk outside, yeah, it sounds like jail. That's what it sounds like to me. It
Yeah,
almost
just to
sounds like
keep you
fucking jail.
working and keep you making the company more money, right? And you're chasing the carrot.
Chasing the
promotion,
carrot.
right? You're trying to
Yeah.
suck up to your boss so you can get this slight promotion, make a little bit more money, right? But at the end of the day, you're making a little bit more money. You have no financial education, right? Like you're making a little bit more money. You're buying more things, materialistic things that don't actually matter because you don't like your job, right? And you're miserable, you're unhappy. So you make a little bit more money, you buy something to make you feel better about yourself. It lasts for like a day or two, maybe a week, right? And then all of a sudden you get paid again, and it's like, you know what, like I worked hard, let me go buy something else so I feel better about
Right.
myself. And you get stuck that's a rat race. You get stuck in it,
Yeah.
endless loop.
Even if people get, like, say people get like a 10,000, let's just say $10,000 raise, and I know that's extremely rare for most people. They don't really get $10,000 raises most of the time. But if you do, right off the bat, Uncle Sam's taking $4,000 of that. Like he's just
Yep.
taking it. You're gonna
Yep.
get, just say, $4 or $5,000 out of that. You're gonna see in your
Yep.
net pay. What are most people gonna do with, like, that's stretched out over a year? Like,
Yeah.
so
And then
do
you
the
gotta
math.
pay, off your debts. All
Yeah,
the
your
things
debts.
that you bought,
Exactly.
right?
Average American, with that extra money, they're gonna upgrade their car. They're gonna
Yep.
do an upgrade to their home. So you're
Yep.
not even like, yeah, on paper you have that, but like they're not using that to benefit. They're gonna go debt. They're just gonna incur
It's giving themselves more liabilities.
more liability.
Yeah.
It's a
And but
vicious cycle.
that's the American way, right? Like if you don't do something like that, then people look at you like, look at this person, right?
Yeah,
They're driving a used cheap car. What are they doing? They have this job. Where's all their money going? Why are they driving a used car? Why don't they have
yeah,
fancy things, right? But like that, those are the smart people. Those are the people who are investing their money,
yep,
making their money grow. But a typical American sees that and it's like, this guy
yeah,
is not driving a Mercedes and he works at whatever company. Like, oh, he
right.
must not be doing well, right? Like
Yeah, and that's exactly how they think.
the
And
backwards
you
mentality.
can vouch for this. I mean, we lived like this. Me personally, for everybody listening,
Yeah,
I don't want you to think that
of
we were
course.
not part of this race. Like, and I just found out about 2 years ago. I decided to change my life. I was part of
Yep.
this race. I would get a raise and I would go buy
Yep.
the latest fucking whatever. I didn't even care. I would whatever I wanted,
Yep. It's to make
whenever
you
I
feel
wanted.
better.
And it did. It gave me like a high,
Yeah.
but then like I would quickly come down. It was like a spike in emotion, like. But then like Monday would roll around, or like my vacation, I'd take a nice vacation,
Yep.
right? And I'd be like, but like by Thursday, I was sick to my stomach again. I'm like, oh my
Yep.
God. Yeah, this
And you
vacation
count
was
and
nice.
you're waiting for Friday, right? Like what is the term? Like you're living for Friday, you're living for the weekend, right? Instead of like living your life. And it's just a terrible cycle.
It's a vicious cycle. And I think we're all part of it. But it's, when I think about, like, if you really think about it, now that I always talk, and I think me and you have spoke about this a lot, and I want the audience to think about this a little bit while I was listening to this, is there's 99% and then there's the 1%. And everybody
Yep.
divides the all money. Yeah, that's part of it. It is well kept. But how do they get that money? And what I was thinking is, I've been thinking, this has been like something that
Yeah.
recently hit me when I was
Yep.
taking a walk. While I was working from home, I took a nice walk. See, I was thinking, I would have never thought about this in the office. I was like, I'm always so different than everybody. Why?
Yep.
Like 99% of the people don't think like me. Like I can see I'm completely fucking nuts to them. People I work with, and I think it's because, and I don't even know if it's the money. I think it's the 1% that you just think differently. Like you're different than everybody else. Like you really are. Like you're just on
You
a
don't want to
different fucking,
accept like just think about it, right?
yeah,
Like the average and above average person has a 9 to 5. They go to work,
yeah,
come home, they cook dinner, watch Netflix for a couple hours, hour or two, go to bed, do it again for the next 60 years of their whatever, 40 years of their life, right? Until they retire when they're 60, 65, 67 nowadays, who knows, right? And some of these people don't even set up their retirement plans. And this is just, I guess this is life, right? Like what else can I do
no, exactly.
to get out of this? And they don't know, and they're just stuck in it. And this is like what society says is what you should do, right? You go to
Yeah, that's
school and they teach you pretty much useless information, right? Like let's be honest. And you go to college and you learn a little bit, tiny, maybe one or two classes that are relevant. Most of it's useless again. You got a job and you just end up in the cycle. And that's just the average person, unfortunately.
Oh, absolutely, I agree. And I think me and you have always said, we always talk. We're always like joking around, like
Yep.
us or is it them? And I think
I know,
the
I
more
know.
you look at it, I mean, and again, we're not there yet, like on that side, as far as like,
Yep.
the wealth to, we're working towards it. That's definitely the
Yep.
end goal here. But I think maybe when we do cross over, and because we will get there, but it's almost as like maybe we were always different than all these people we co-workers, and they were saying because yeah, we might sound fucked up to them, but maybe that's how you cross the line and get over to
Yeah.
that side. And once you're like, oh my god, it wasn't me. It's actually this is why there's only 1% of
Yep.
these people, and it's not riches, it's time. Like just
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
wealth gives you time. Like
It's not,
just
yeah,
having
you're right.
time.
It's not about having millions of
No,
dollars. It's
it's
about
not.
having time to do
Freedom.
whatever you want, right? It doesn't mean not working, right? It doesn't mean not
Absolutely.
going to work. It means working for yourself, things that you enjoy, having the freedom, the time
Exactly.
to do what you want to. Not, I have to be at a certain place at 9 o'clock. If I'm 2 minutes late, that
Yeah.
doc and pay.
It's
I mean,
talking pay. And it's amazing because I've never actually I'm like this is our first episode of like ever. I've never done anything like this, and I'm enjoying. Like at first, I was like, "Fuck," I'm nervous. Like, but now this feels
yeah,
natural to me. I'm actually
yeah.
enjoying this,
This is
and this
what,
is
but this
something
is what we talk
I
about all
enjoy
the time.
doing. This
Yep.
is natural, yeah. Like this is completely natural to me right now. Like this is not hard. Like I could sit in a meeting, like at work, with all these fucking corporate bozos, and I can't say 2 words. Like,
Yep.
but if I spoke like this, I'd probably be the fucking CEO right now. The way I'm speaking, like I could probably get people to like buy into my. It's just because it's not natural to me. That's not a corporate meeting, whether it's virtual or whether it's in. It's just not. It's so fucking fake from the top down. Like, I think that's what it is. I just can't. I can't ride with the bullshit. I guess people can, but I just can't. I can't ride. I can't sit there and joke about somebody who I
Yep.
want to spit in their face. Like I don't
Yep.
like the person. I don't like how
It's
they
it's hard to
act.
be. You have to be
And that's
fake
for
all
most of
day.
the people I work with. I mean, there are
Yeah.
some. Like I'm not going to say it's all. There are a couple of cool people. I do like
Yep.
some
Of
people I work
course.
with, but for the most part, I don't.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.